Hello, my name's Phil Willits. Today I'd like to show you how I paint a winter tree in watercolour. So let's get started. Right, let's mix the colours up. The paper that I'm using is cold pressed watercolour paper, 140 pounds. Now the colours, we're going to do a sky, start with the sky first. The colours I'm going to use are ultramarine, making sure that there's plenty of paint so we don't run out with it. A little bit of yellow ochre, which makes it a bit of a very dark green, and just a tiny bit of permanent rose. Okay, that's the first part of the sky. The second part is we're going to use a little bit of yellow ochre for the bottom part. That's quite strong actually. I shall be using also 3 brushes, a number 10, a number 6 and a rigger number 2 rigger. Okay, so let's now paint the sky. Alright, let's start the sky using bags of water. Leaving some of the tree, there's the main tree. I have drawn the tree before I even started. I forgot to say that, but a bit of yellow ochre coming down. And bringing that right the way through here as well. Okay, now then we're going to have to let that dry. It's drying fairly quickly anyway, so let that dry and then we'll carry on with the trees. Right, that's dry now, and now we will paint the main trees. Start at the bottom, a bit stronger than that. Following the line, but put a bit more green, I think, in the other tree. I'm going to swap brushes and use the rigger, providing that's dry enough for the thinner branches. Just take it up like that and flick. So you go along like that and just flick it up. You have to be careful there because this is still wet, and this is really only the first coat. I'm going to put make it a little bit darker. Use probably more paint, more pigment. Right, we carry on flicking. Like that. I'm going to do a little bit darker using some ultramarine. Using the foreground of the trees, just flicking, letting the brush dance around. And put another bit there. Right. Now what I'm going to do now is mix a stronger mix of what we've been using. Ultramarine, yellow ochre, and rose madder. We've just added a few darker tones now. So we start again at the bottom, leaving some of the spaces of the under painting that we've used. I'm going to use a bigger brush. I'm going to use number 6. I'm going to use the rigger and use some ceruleum just while they're still wet in there, and just flick some grasses in, and that sort of helps to give the impression of long grasses. And we'll do flick some more, making some of the twigs a little bit stronger. A bit awkward actually, because it's still a bit wet. And you just carry on putting the thinner twigs in. You haven't got to be, I put too many in, mind you, but just enough. And then we'll finish off putting the little tiny twigs with a wash. A few more darker ones up here. Okay, we'll have to let all that dry now. Now then, to do the leaves, I've used a little bit of ultramarine and permanent rose, the same colours that we have been using, but also you put some Hooker's green in it, and you get a big brush, number 10, and you go a sloping action, or just to do the small tiny twigs on the tree. So you bring it like that. And I'm going to change the colour a little bit, having more of a burnt cinnamon as well in the middle. And it gives the impression of small branches, because you don't want to fiddle with too many small branches. Okay. And I'll put some little bit of Hooker's green and yellow ochre in the foreground. Gives a bit of a bit more dark on there. Okay. And finally, to make it even darker, mix of the three main colours. Ultramarine, permanent rose, and yellow ochre, just to give a little bit more depth to some of these here, the bottom twigs. Right, the final, making a little bit darker in places, and you can carry on really, going on and on, but you've got to be careful you don't start fiddling. But I find this is one of the best ways of doing a tree in winter time, and I hope it's helped you, and I hope you've enjoyed this. By the way, I am using my own designed easel, and you can get the plans free and download the plans free on my website. So I hope that's been a help to you, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers, see you again.